What's happening, church? Good to see you coming along today. Welcome to Shabbat Night Live. I'm just totally kidding. So, for those of you for those of you who are familiar with that show, you'll totally appreciate that joke. But this is Deep Dive Live, and I want to say welcome and shalom to all you that are joining me live or joining me on the rebroadcast. I appreciate you coming along. Hopefully, you're getting something out of it because I definitely am. Today, we are going to be in Matthew chapter 25. We are about to wrap up the book of Matthew. I will be working out of the New King James Version of the Bible as we have through this entire series. And I will be using the blueletterbible.org web based service quite a bit today, to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff to unpack in this bad boy. So before we get going, we always like to go to the Lord in prayer. If you have a prayer request or anything like that that you'd like to relay, again, throw that up in the chat or in the comments below in the rebroadcast. If it's something that's a little bit too personal, something that maybe needs some explanation, you can send that to me directly at tgikquestions@gmail.com. So clearly, I'm running behind because I've got crazy hair happening right now. Uh, my hair light's gone. Oh, that's it. Oh, I gotta stop. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Let me fix my hair light. All of you right now are going, "What's this crazy guy talking about?" Well, I literally have a light for my hair. So yeah. It helps the computer see the difference between me and the background. So there you go. So now you can see all my flyaways. Probably shouldn't have did that. Wow, that was dumb. Okay. Anyhow, I'm sorry. Let's get serious. And honestly, I'm going to get serious here. But we do want to go to the Lord in prayer, and I do want you to continue to remember my brother's stepson, Skylar, who had a heart incident earlier this week. Definitely keep him in your prayers. They understand what's going on with him, but he has a road that he needs to walk, and so just keep him in your prayers if you could. So, all right, here we go. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you and praise you for the day that you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to come forward and study your word once again. I pray as we come forward to study today that you open up our hearts and our minds to be receptive to the words that are going to come forward, to the ideas that you are bringing forth as you were teaching your disciples. And I pray that you'd help us, Lord, to apply them into our lives so we walk closer to you, to love you more, learn more about you, and better be able to show you to the world around us. I thank you and praise you for all your blessings because we know it's only through you that those things come. We ask all these things in the name of your son, Yeshua, we pray. Amen. All right, gang. Let's bounce on over here, running behind as always, to this part of Matthew 25. Again, we're starting at verse 1 on this one. Make sure my mic's actually on. Probably should get some headphones. Matthew 25, 1, and this is a parable that Yeshua is giving. It says, and again, he's giving them a description of what the kingdom is like. It says, then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. In the Hebrew version of Matthew, it actually says the bride and the bridegroom, but these people are going out to meet the wedding party. Now, 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. I'm sorry, I wasn't actually going to do this, but it's super cool how the Hebrew version of Matthew renders this. And it says, I'm sorry. It says, 5 of them were lazy fools and 5 of them were alert and wise. So definitely, there's definitely a different take on it from the Greek to the Hebrew. But what you're looking at is when you're looking at this wise and foolish, and the Hebrew is not far off of what the Greek is actually trying to bring forward here. So you have these wise and alert. That is people who are thinking ahead, and they are considering all of the options, all the possibilities. So you're going out to meet someone at an undetermined time. So you might want to pack enough S to get through however long that time could possibly be. So if you know it's within a probably likely a 24-hour window, you need to pack enough stuff for 24 hours, right? That would be the smart, right? That'd be the smart thing to do. But these foolish, um, these are actually not just people who didn't bring oil. That wasn't the point. That wasn't the problem with these five girls. What was the problem with these five girls is they actually were wicked. They were, as the Bible says, that the fool has said in their heart that there is no God. These girls did not consider the repercussions of their actions. So they didn't realize that they couldn't just borrow some. And it almost gives the implication that these girls knew ahead of time what they would need, but they chose not to take it. So it wasn't that they weren't aware of what was going on, but it actually implies that these girls knew and they didn't care. It wasn't important to them. They had taken God's name in vain. They had taken God's name lightly. It didn't mean anything to them. Esau's birthright didn't mean anything to them. And that cost you. That'll cost you. Matthew 25:3 says, those who were foolish took their lamps and took how much oil? How much oil? No oil. They took no oil. What's in it? That's what you got. You know, it's like going on a trip 2 states away and not filling the tank up. How far are we going to get? Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. We just don't have any. And so they had no oil with them, which they could have easily carried on their person, by the way. It's not like, you know, a cruise of oil. It's about the size of a wineskin. It's not like it would take up much space. That crap burns for hours, okay? Uh, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So they've got their vessels. They have vessels. They took oil in their vessels, their cruise of oil, and their lamps. So they have the lamp and they have vessels that carry oil. Two things. They're prepared for whatever comes their way. But while the bridegroom was delayed, because this is a first century picture, this caravan is traveling on foot. They're traveling at the speed of foot because they might be on carts and crap, but there's going to be some people walking because there's just no choice. And so you have to travel at foot speed. And so it takes a long time to get anywhere. And so while the bridal party was delayed, they all slept and slumbered. Who's they? This is the 10. They slept and they slumbered. They took a nap. And the Textus Receptus says at midnight, in the middle of the night, at midnight, a cry was heard, "Behold, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him." This is going to tell you that the Nestle Allen omits this part right here. So basically, Nestle Allen reads, "Behold, the bridegroom. Go out to meet him." Again, this is one of those variations that everybody likes to point out, which changes the meaning none. 25:7 it says, then all 10 virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish, which means when they trim their lamps, if you know anything about an oil burning lamp, once a lamp has been burning for a period of time, it gets a crusty on the top, and you will cut that back to keep the smoke down, because you're getting ready to go inside of a building. They're getting ready to go into a bridal party, and so you don't want your light source emitting a huge amount of smoke. And so what you'll do is you trim your lamp down to a proper level, the appropriate level, and then when you light it, you have a relatively small flame, but you have virtually no smoke. And so they all got up and they trimmed their lamps in preparation for going indoors. And the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." Were they aware? I shouldn't have laughed. Sorry. Dang it. Dang it. Were they aware that lamps consumed oil? Well, yeah, because that's the only form of lighting these people have. They knew exactly how lamps worked and they knew exactly how long they were going to last, but it didn't matter to them. It just wasn't important enough for them to pack a vessel of oil and carry it with them. Not hard. It's not hard. Super, super simple. But they chose not to do it. But they thought instead that what they would do is they would just get some from the people that are around them. Well, I don't need my own oil. I can just use yours. Well, these wise girls, these wise people said the wise answered saying, nay. Uh, 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 they didn't say nay, but they said no, lest there should not be enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves. And so, sorry, somebody's knocking at the door right now. Now my dogs are barking. Um, and because what they're saying, we see, because they're wise, they know that there's not going to have enough to last throughout this entire event. They're getting ready to go into an event. They need to have enough, because this is starting in the evening. They need to have enough to go along with what they with to go. I'm sorry, the person who's knocking at the door doesn't seem to want to go away. They need to have enough to make it through this entire night-long event. Said, but while they went to buy, which means they went into the local town, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready, those who were there and ready, went in to meet him in the wedding, and then the door was shut. See, they were waiting outside of an established location, and they were waiting for everybody to show up. And once everybody showed up, they shut the door. And afterward, the other girls came and they said, "Master," that Lord, Lord. It's a little confusing because it makes people believe that we're talking about, like, something divine. This should better read should say, "Master, Master, open to us." And he answered and said, "Assuredly, I say to you, I don't know you. You shouldn't be knocking on my door. Everybody who is ready is already in here. I don't know who you are." Like old dude knocking at my door right now. I don't take unsolicited callers. I don't know who you are. It says, "Watch therefore." This is the warning again. He's telling this entire parable to the disciples. He says, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming." And he's talking about when the Messiah returns. Hang on one second. Be quiet. He is talking about his coming back to set up his kingdom to rule and reign from on high. That is what he's addressing here. And so, and he's moving on, and he's giving these are analogies that he is giving to the disciples as a way for them to understand how the kingdom of heaven operates. One moment. Jack, be quiet. My dog's developed a habit of pooping in my house, so he's in his kennel. So if anyone wants a dog, you're more than welcome to him. That's not a joke. Matthew 25:14 says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them." Now this is okay. So this is the kingdom of heaven is like a man. He's going into a far country, and he's got some people who work for him, and he's got stuff that he made or that he grew, and he delivered them. He delivered these goods to these other people. And to one, he gave 5 talents. Talents is a weight measurement, doesn't mean skills, it's a weight measurement. To one, he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, each according to his own ability. However much that person was able to handle, however much their skill set was able to handle, that's how much he gave them. And then he took off on his journey. He's like, I'm out, bounce, bang, he's gone. 25:16, it says, then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them. He went to the marketplace and he traded these 5 talents. This is which would be 5 talents of silver, or might as well call them pounds or kilos. This is a weight measurement. And he went and he took them and he traded them and he bartered them around and he traded them from one commodity to another. And by the time he got done, he had made 5 more. So he had the 5 he started with, and then he had literally doubled his money. And likewise, he who had received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and he dug in the ground and he hid the Lord's money. Because again, this is just a weight of chunk of money. Well, after a long time, the Lord of those servants, the master of those servants, came and settled the accounts with them. So he gives them, he fronts all this money to them. And he says, now, when I come back, you need to give me what's due me. Now, obviously, these people are going to get paid for what they were doing. But, this was how it worked at that time. And it says, so he who had received the 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, Master, Lord, you delivered me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them. And then the master said to him, sweet. Well done. Whatever. Sweet. Good and faithful servant. Good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things, 5 things, and I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy, enter into the celebration of your Lord. And also, he who had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, you delivered me 2 talents. Look, check this out, homie. I have gained 2 more talents besides them. And the master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Exact same response. See, it didn't matter. Doesn't matter how many things you have. It only matters what you do with what you have. Doesn't matter how many things you can do. It only matters what you do with what you have. That's all that matters. That's all that's ever mattered. You're not expected to do things that you are not able to do. Duh. 25:23. And then his master says to him, 24. Then he who had received 1, I already read that one. Then he who had received 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown. Well, he's paying you to sow, butthole, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. But he was paying you to scatter the seed. You're trying to frame this person as somehow being a criminal or somehow being like, a mafioso. No. That's your job. He was paying you to be a steward. You get a percentage of what you took. But this guy was like, okay, well, look, I got scared because I'm a beta male. Sorry. What time is it? Dang it. Still got plenty of time. Um, and I was afraid, and I went and I hid your talent, acknowledging that he knows whose money he is holding. I hid your money in the ground, and look, you have yours. That's what it actually says. Look, you have yours. Now they added there and the what is, but it actually says, look, you have yours. Ta-da! There you go. But his Lord answered and said to him, you wicked and lazy servant. You knew the deal. You knew the deal. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers. The Hebrew Matthew says you should have deposited my money with my bankers, suggesting that this property owner actually had money changers of his own, that he could have simply just walked it over to them and said, "Look, guys, what I can get, 1%, 2%, 3%." That would have been okay. Do you understand what this guy's saying? He's saying that the interest rate that you would have gotten from the bank would have been okay with me. That would have been okay with me. You didn't have to double the money. You didn't have to come back at 100% return. That you didn't have to do that. You could have given me a 3 to 5% return, and I would have been okay with that. But you didn't. But you didn't. In Matthew 25:28 it says, therefore take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents, because that's going to go on his ledger for his percentage. For everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. So now he has more than what he was expecting. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. Now, the Hebrew Matthew does render this a little differently, and it actually renders it. It says that he will have abundance, but from him who does not have, even what he was expecting to receive will be taken away. See, because here's the thing, is old dude in this one talent, he still thought he was going to get some money because he didn't lose any money, but he didn't gain any money. And so this guy's hoping that, well, maybe this dude will throw me a couple bucks just because I didn't lose his money. See, there's more to it than just the surface reading. If you take a second and go through this stuff, you can dig out these little nuggets that are here in the scripture. And it says, verse 25-30, to wrap this up, man, I didn't get anywhere. I was supposed to get through 2 more sections. Mercy. And it says, and cast the unprofitable. Why is he unprofitable? Because he didn't even earn interest. If he would have earned interest, he would have been a profitable servant. Do you see what we're the lesson that we're learning here? One of the lessons, one of the many, many, many lessons that we're learning here is God does not expect you to double what God gives you. He does not expect that. It would have been okay to just grow at a normal rate, to just invest the time, invest the energy in something that's going to reap a reward and show some progress. You don't have to double it. You just have to show some. And he cast the unprofitable servant where? We talked about this yesterday. There's places where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, and then there's outer darkness. Dun, dun, dun. There's outer darkness. What is this indicative of? What's this generally considered to refer to? This is Gehenna. This is the never-ending fire of trash heap that sat outside of Jerusalem. That was the area, the abode of the wicked. It was the abode of the damned. It was the place where before and at least before, maybe even after, where children have been sacrificed to pagan gods for generations. So you're going to be cast into a place where it is outer darkness, like the worst example that you could possibly. And guess what? There's going to be there. There's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Why is there weeping and gnashing of teeth? We're going to have to wrap it up there. Gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I took that forever. Why is there weeping and gnashing of teeth? For the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. The gnashing of teeth is a way of showing remorse. It is the, ah! Do you understand that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? It is remorse. It is the most intense remorse that you could imagine because you had the opportunity to do right and you chose not to. Now, I'm not familiar with anything like that, but thank God for grace. Because if it wasn't for God's grace, if it wasn't for his unmerited favor, we would all be hosed. We just would be. Let's just face the reality of it. It doesn't matter what you believe. You can agree with what I believe and you can disagree with what I believe. But one thing I will say to you 100% of the time, no matter how much of the Bible you think applies to our everyday life, if not for grace, we are sinners. If not for God's love, if it's not for his unmerited favor, we leave this life without hope. Thank God for his grace. So, all right, folks, if you guys, as always, like I say this all the time, leave comments, leave questions, feel free. I love to interact. That's really the whole purpose of this is eventually to develop some kind of, like interactive community. If this is content that you enjoy, please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Consider it a personal favor. No pressure. No pressure. Like, share, and subscribe. No pressure. Like, share, and subscribe. No pressure. None. None. Free. Did I mention it was free? One thing that does matter, if you don't do anything else that I ever ask you to do, read and pray every day. I have trouble talking about this. It'll change your life. It'll change your life. Sorry. I'm a crybaby. All right, folks. For those of us who observe a seventh-day Shabbat, early Shabbat or Shabbos, Shalom. And for those of you who observe a Sunday day of worship, get to freaking church. Your pastor said you weren't going. He told me. I'm just kidding. No, actually, every poll that's out says you're not going. So go. Support your pastor. It's important. All right. Love you guys. I will see you on Monday at 6 o'clock. God only knows what I'm going to have. But we are about to wrap up the book of Matthew, and we will be starting a brand new series. So Lord knows what that'll be. Actually, he's the only one that knows. So I'll know when you know. All right. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.